And welcome everyone to Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Have a very special guest that's making her first appearance here on the Amazon.com platform. We're excited to welcome Dr. Velma Bagby to our program today. She's the author of several books. I'm going to go ahead and highlight, though, her newest one. The Kindle edition is available right now for pre-order on the Amazon Live side, The Catch No One Wants. Also, she has other books you guys will notice there on the Amazon Live side. We're going to go through those. I want to talk to Dr. Velma not only about her writing journey, but what it's been like for her now this year to release not one, but two books. Dr. Velma, hello, how are you?
Hello, Cyrus. It's good to speak with you again.
Well, look, this is our very first on-camera conversation, too. So
On
that's
camera.
exciting. That's exciting, too. Well, look, congratulations to you on a remarkable journey that you've been on, not only, of course, with the release of the books this year, but even books before now. I asked you a question on the radio show, and I'll ask you now, Dr. Velma, as well. What has this experience been like for you to be able to have these ideas and then to be able to see them kind of come together in these books?
Well, it's really exciting, but it's also challenging because when you feel like there's something special about something you're working on, you
Mhm.
tend to have a lot of glitches,
Well, yeah,
experience a lot of challenges.
yeah.
And so it kept me motivated because I said, oh, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good book. So having gone through all those challenges and getting to this point finally, it's exciting.
Yeah. And it's exciting because you're not doing this by yourself, right? You've been able to surround yourself with people who've been
Mhm.
following your journey. I saw you early on another broadcast you were doing, and people were cheering you on. What has that been like for you to have that motivation from others as you're going throughout this journey?
Well, I figured out early on in my writing career that this does not work if you're isolated and alone.
Mhm.
You do have to have a tribe around you. And
Yeah,
sometimes you need them in those moments that I just spoke about where you hit those rough patches and glitches. They
yeah.
step in to keep you motivated and encouraged. And so I'm grateful for the tribe that I have been surrounded with.
Well, and I know they appreciate knowing that. I want to say hello, Miss Queenie. Hello over there on the Amazon Live side. I appreciate you guys. If you guys are watching us, and I see you guys coming in on Facebook, on YouTube, I see you guys over there as well. Welcome to the broadcast. Dr. Velma Bagby is our guest for this segment. She's celebrating her book, The Catch No One Wants. But it's not just the novel that you're releasing this year. You have another book to kind of go along with it. Talk to us about that. So you have like a fiction and a nonfiction. There you go. You have the print edition there
Yeah.
of the second book. So talk to us about the connection between the two and what it's been like for you to kind of share this message about love, relationships, and faith.
You know what? I was thinking to myself, I said, has anyone ever done this before? Written a
Mhm.
fiction book and then created a nonfiction workbook to go with it?
Mhm.
I don't know, but I felt like that's what I was supposed to do because I had a feeling that there would be questions about, okay, where's the information the father provided the daughter in that
Mm.
homework basket? Because after they get back from their trip, he gives her a basket full of these materials, handouts, workbooks that he wanted her to use to kind of work on herself. And so I said, well, where can I put that? I can't put it inside a fiction book. This idea came. Why not offer them a copy of the homework basket and include every all the tips and tools that he provided her in that real basket, but in book form? It's a good discussion tool, especially for book clubs or ministries, or even by yourself if you wanted to go deeper into some of the things we talk about in the book. So I just thought this was a great idea. I don't know if it's been done before, but it made sense to me.
Yeah, and we're going to remind our audience of that, Dr. Velma, of them being able to get it. I have it highlighted right now on the Amazon Live side. So if you guys are over
Mhm.
there, you'll notice there's a carousel either here on the side or down below. Dr. Velma and myself, the books that we're talking about as we're discussing them, I'll be actually able to feature them. And so you're seeing right now featured the
Mhm.
book that Dr. Velma has in her hands there. So I want to talk about Veronica's journey because I thought it was an interesting parallel to what you have been kind of talking about yourself today, Dr. Velma, because Veronica is someone who has goals set, which goals are great. She has
Mhm.
expectations; those are great. But
Mhm.
when things don't happen according to her own timing,
Yep.
that's when she starts to kind of wonder what's going on there. And so I want to talk about that. How did she initially come to you? How did the character of Veronica come to you?
Just in all of the years that I've had an opportunity to minister to other single women.
Mm,
So she's a combination of many of those stories. Of Many of the stories I've heard are stories that I've heard before, experiences I've already heard about, and so it was common, and especially among millennials who tend to be that can do, I can do it on my own generation. So
yeah.
she sort of represents that. They're very good at goal setting and going after what they decide to achieve. They're perfect at that, but it just doesn't apply to finding a mate or a mate finding you. And so I think that was the struggle she had. She thought that those tools that she has, although great in business, great in achieving some of the accomplishments and goals she achieved, but it wasn't as it relates to love.
Such a great point. Now, I should say for our audience, I mentioned this to you on the radio broadcast, Dr. Velma, and for those joining us on Amazon, you can find that on Amazon Music as well. You can find that in the carousel. You actually have written your own story. I'm going to highlight it right now. It's only 99 cents there on Amazon. My 70s love story. What was that like for you to kind of let the world into your own journey to your own love?
Well, my husband and I had to have that conversation because I had to share that I was going to be vulnerable and open in the book and had some conversations with him because there were some questions I had during that time I never asked. So
Mm,
I actually went back to him and had those questions answered that I had in the back of my mind. What did you do? What did you mean during this particular time? And so I was able to include all of that, and he agreed, yes, let's put it out there, and maybe someone can learn from that or
mm,
gain something from it. And so that was the reason. I just think that just being transparent is the best way to be. It's how I interact with people that I'm working with, having conversations with. I'm sharing my own stories.
right. Hello to you, Angela. We see you over there on the Facebook side. Angela says hello to you too, Dr. Velma. We're excited to be a part of Dr. Velma's day today as we're celebrating, of course, the catch no one wants. For those tuning in on Amazon, you guys can go ahead and pre-order the Kindle edition right now, so you can already have it ready here in a couple of days, right there on your Kindle or your other device. So make sure you guys do that. Also, though, I want to let you guys know the book you saw Dr. Velma holding, The Catch No One Wants, the workbook, is available now. It's already out. You guys can
Yep.
get the paperback edition for only $5, $5 right now on Amazon. I have it highlighted there on the featured section. So, was this an inevitable journey? Do you feel like for you, Dr. Velma? Because, you know, for some people, they always knew that writing or whatever their gift was going to be how people got to either know them or be helped through them. Did you always
Well,
know that writing was part of that gift for you?
not necessarily. I knew that I was part of the creative family. I was part of a creative family. So there's a lot
Okay.
of creatives that I was surrounded by,
Hmm.
but I never identified myself as a writer. Now, I worked in corporate. I was a deputy administrator for state government. I retired in 2012 and I did a lot of writing there. However, it wasn't creative writing. And then I was Bible study teacher. I created classes around that. I designed management classes at work. And and at church, I was writing skits. We did a Black
Mm,
History play that I designed. So those were just natural abilities for me. I
right.
did not focus on any of those skill sets as my becoming who I am right now. I didn't, not until my daughters encouraged me to write that first book. And then I
Wow.
realized, oh, I need to keep doing this.
Wow. So tell our audience then about the first book. What was the first book then?
The first book is called Your Adam is Asleep Until God Opens His Eyes. Because the question my daughters asked, their initial question was, Mom, why are men so slow? They're just not picking up on the cues and the clues. And I said, well, they're not slow, but asleep. I said, sometimes he's not the one for you. Sometimes his
Mm,
eyes are closed, but when his eyes are open to the one, his eyes are open. So again, I went back to my husband and had conversations from the male's perspective. And he said, oh, yes, when he sees her, he knows. And even though he may not declare it initially, he might even not he may be in a situation where he's not ready to declare anything. He's still working on
mm,
himself, and so he might visit 2 years down the line or express something 2 years later. But in any event, he said he knows once he sees her.
Wow.
And so that's how that conversation began and that first book evolved.
Well, I have it highlighted now on the Amazon Live side, Dr. Velma. The Kindle edition is only $3.99 for our audience
Mhm.
there, so you guys can go ahead and be able to click on that. So a lot of Dr. Velma's works is already out on Amazon for you guys to be able to get as we're having this conversation. We definitely though want you to be able to pre-order The Catch No One Wants, so that it's waiting for you there on its official release. But also, of course, grab the workbook, the handbook there as well. So, have you? Do you still have those wow moments in Dr. Velma where you look at all the titles you have over there, on Amazon? Do you still have those wow moments of what you've been able to write and achieve in such a short period of your writing journey?
I didn't until my book manager asked me, "Well, how many books do you have?" And I'm going, "Oh, wait, let me count." And the two of us counted. And that's when I realized this is book 13 and 14.
Wow.
I didn't realize it until then. And so I, you're right. It's a very short time frame,
Hmm.
but I'm excited about it.
Hmm.
That I've been able to accomplish that in such a very short time. But it's just what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. You were sharing on another broadcast, I mean, exactly when this journey started for you. What
Mhm.
was your hope initially when you started writing? Like when you wrote that first book? I mean, that can be very engaging. Definitely, I'm sure it got people talking. But what was your hope that your writing would be able to do, Dr. Velma?
The same thing as this one is to make sure that what we're saying, since we're being transparent, will resonate to someone and that
Hmm.
they'll get something out of our story. Because we're not preaching at anyone. We're not trying to tell you what you shouldn't be doing. We're just simply sharing our own experiences. And then when my daughters asked this question, I have two registered nurses. And I said, okay, I really need to dig a little deeper in the scripture. This is
Hmm.
not one of those conversations I can just hand them fluff. They're very analytical. So I said, well, let me make sure that I go back. And that's what I did first. I went back through scripture and walked through that process from the very beginning in the book of Genesis. So most of our conversations centered around the fact that Eve was not present when Adam and God spent that time alone in the garden. And the scripture never said he was alone. I said, because he wasn't alone, he was in fellowship with God the whole time. And so, therefore, he wasn't thinking in terms of a woman or anybody else. He was busy doing what he had been given to do. It was God that determined that it was not good and that he would make him a helpmeet. And that's how we began our journey and our conversation.
Love that. Love that. Hello to you, Wendy. I see you over there on the Facebook side. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, you're watching Cyrus Webb Presents here primarily on Amazon Live, but we also are streaming on Facebook, on Twitter, LinkedIn, as well as on YouTube. We're joined today by Dr. Velma Bagby. We're talking with her not only about her writing journey, but also what it's been like for her to share that with all of you. Her newest book available for pre-order is The Catch No One Wants. That's what we're just talking about. Hello to you, Alfred. Good to be able to see you over there on the Facebook side as well. So, Dr. Vilma, I want to talk about something you just referenced about scripture, but
Yeah.
also tie it into Grayson and Veronica and the Catch No One Wants. Because, I think so many times when we are trying to share something with someone, and my mom and I were literally having this conversation a couple weeks ago, it's not always what you say, it's how you say
You
it,
said it.
right? Talk to us about the way that you were able to get through to Veronica in the book, by using examples that she could relate to, but also still drove the points home.
I think it's from basically what you just said. In the story, Grayson talks about the fact that it's important to surround yourself with a wise counsel. So you talked
Mhm.
about your mom. Mine has gone home to glory. My father's gone home to glory. But there was an aunt that I had, 85 years old, who was the example of what true wisdom talks about, what scripture talks about in terms of true wisdom, where the older teach the younger. And I used to go to her regarding my own personal challenges in my marriage, because I married, my husband and I were turning 20 the year we got married, and we've been married 48 years now. And
Wow.
so there were some times when I needed wise counsel too. And so in the book, Grayson talks about the importance of that, because as we see, the family unit has broken down over the years. We don't have fathers who can offer that. And so it's important that the woman surrounds herself, or the male surround himself with people who are seasoned enough to speak wisdom into your life. And so that came from that place. The other place it came from was Grayson is a copy of my husband. His personality, there were many times I went back to him and to get his perspective. If this is what your situation was and this was your daughter, how would you approach? And so his personality came from my husband. And so from there, you would think that as a pastor, he would be pretty hard nosed with a PK, but he wasn't. He was very gracious. He gave his daughter room to figure things out himself. It was only when he saw it was getting bad that he prayed for help to step in. And so that's what's important. Wisdom is important to have. So this idea of um, not to be in my business or I'm grown, it doesn't make any sense. It was never designed to be that way. We were always supposed to have a support network, just like you asked me about the tribe around me in this writing process. We always need a support system. And it's important even in dating and relationships.
Love that. You created a great way to kind of introduce this book, Dr. Velma. I want to talk about that, and
Mhm.
also let our audience see it as well. I love this, and I'm so glad we get to be able to feature it here on our live broadcast. So for our audience on Amazon Live that have not had a chance to see it, and those who are watching us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, you all enjoyed this. We'll be back with more of our conversation with Dr. Velma right after this.
Veronica Dawson, a 32-year-old successful millennial, frantically searches in all the wrong places for a husband. She is in a rush after passing her goal to be a wife by 30. Watching her wrong choices is her father, Grayson. He sees these men mistreat her and, in his frustration, asks God for guidance. Grayson's answered prayers lead him to invite Veronica on a 2-day fishing trip as an intervention. Because he sees the behavioral similarities between men and fish, he creates 5 metaphorical stories to share with his daughter. 4 highlight her dating mistakes with men. The catfish, who loves garbage. The salmon, who does not want to get caught. The sturgeon, who likes to nibble. And the pufferfish, who is beautiful until agitated. The 5th, the goldfish, represents the husband she deserves. The man God has chosen for her was standing right in front of her.
And again, we're talking about this book we have highlighted on Amazon, The Catch No One Wants. We're speaking with Dr. Velma Bagby today about the new book and also about this journey. I think, the thing is, and again, using illustrations, you even said on the radio side when we talked about the book, Dr. Velma, about Jesus and the way Jesus was able to teach in a way that was understandable, but
Mhm.
also being able to reach people where they are. Is that kind of what you also hope when people read a book by Dr. Velma Bagby, they feel the same way?
That's exactly correct. I love the approach that Jesus used. It was non threatening, non judgmental. He didn't hit you over the head with a scripture or recite a scripture or something that you may not even understand. He simply explained it in a simple way using something they were familiar with. And then they were able to capture the deeper understanding to what he was teaching them. And I love that approach. And I hope I can continue to write that way. This book was the first time I felt like writing in that way.
Mm, love that. So what is your hope? And hello to you, Tony, over there on the Amazon Live side. Appreciate you joining us there as well. If you guys are new to us here on the Amazon Live side, if you haven't done so already, there is a follow button either in this corner or down below. So if you're joining us on your desktop, laptop, or phone, depending on where you are, feel free to hit that follow button. We have programming here 7 days a week on Amazon Live. Also, you'll notice the books that we're discussing by Dr. Velma Bagby are below us or on the side of us. Again, depending on how you're watching us in the carousel. Feel free to be able to click on those It'll take you into a new window. You won't lose us, but you can be able to find out more information about the books that we're discussing, and also go ahead and pre-order Dr. Velma's newest book, The Catch No One Wants, as well. So, with that being said, what is your hope then with this movement? Because I feel like The Catch No One Wants, Dr. Velma, is more than just an entertaining read in itself. The handbook is more than just something to work. What do you hope this kind of sparks in people who read it and decide to share it?
I hope it sparks a discussion. I hope it creates opportunities for more dialogue with other people. I hope it motivates people to, even if it doesn't apply to their personal life, that they know someone that can use it. I just hope it's that kind of conversation that they can't wait to share what they found out in this book with someone else.
Love it. And I think that's the big thing here, to be able to share. I think as we kind of talk about, life happens when we're making other plans. You and I have kind of discussed that through today. But sometimes I think, things happen the way that, they do for a lot of different reasons, right? And I think one of the big things is what we choose to do with it. I think even in Veronica's case, and I should say, for full disclosure, Dr. Velma sent me an advanced copy to be able to read so I could start prepping for conversations like this. But I will say this, that it really does go to, you don't know sometimes what you don't know.
What you don't
Veronica,
know.
I think, was that proved true. But also sometimes we just need that little adjustment. What do you hope all of us realize, Dr. Velma, about trying to be the Grayson in someone's life?
Well, I think, and like we talked about earlier, even in writing, we have to surround ourselves with a tribe. You should not walk this walk or into this journey by yourself. And I
Right.
said that's the biggest downfall and pattern that I saw in many of the couples and single women that I've counseled over the years, thinking that no one else understands what you're going through. That's not true.
Right.
There are many people who have gone through similar journeys and can help you in your process. And so I think that would be the biggest thing. We've isolated ourselves and believe that, and we've heard and seen so many horror stories as a result of trying to keep things secret. I don't know where that came from, but dating in secret is crazy. It was always supposed to be a process in your tribe or your wise counsel that you might have. And sometimes your wise counsel is only one person
Right.
that's on that council that's there to help you to vet whoever that person is. And so it's intended to also keep you safe. It was designed this way for a reason. And when you think in terms of how people date today, that process is only 100 years old. It's not that old. The process we believe is the correct one. And even online dating, there's a portion in the book where Grayson tells his daughter and describes a pool of fish, a spool of fish that we see sometimes when we go to an aquarium. It's a whole bunch of fish. One turns left, they all turn left. One turns right, they all turn right. And that's kind of that example of online dating. There's so many in the pool. All the fish want to do is get a bite, any bite. And that's not our approach to dating. It's not anyone. It's the one. And you have to take your time to vet these people to ensure that the one is the correct one. Because there are great people out there. But the question becomes, is that the one for you? Because that could be the one for somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is so true. Ellen says hello to you. Ellen Sutter says hello to you. And she said, she always supports her friends. And we appreciate that, Ellen, for sure. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you all dropping by. Thank all of you for being with us as we're celebrating Dr. Velma Bagby today. And definitely make sure you guys, if you have not done so already, and I've been seeing that number ticking down. So I know you guys have been pre-ordering your book. Keep doing it. Make sure you guys share it with your friends. The Catch No One Wants is available for pre-order right now on Amazon for $4.99. If you guys are joining us on the Amazon Live side, you can just be able to click on it, be able to go ahead and pre-order it, be ready for you guys here in a couple of days. But also the accompanying book, the nonfiction book, it is available now for only $5. Dr. Velma has hers right there. So make sure you guys do get it as well. And you'll notice there are other books as well. Her very first book is located there in the carousel on Amazon for $3.99 in the Kindle edition. And also, as we talked about earlier, my 70s love story, it's available for only 99 cents. So make sure you guys get that as well. Dr. Velma, how can they stay connected with you?
Well, they can go to my website. They can friend me on Facebook. They can connect with me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and Twitter. I'm available on all of those social media sites.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Velma, congratulations to you. Glad we
Thank
had a
you.
chance to speak today and looking forward to our next conversation together.
Absolutely.
All right. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Again, if you guys are new to us here on the Amazon Lifestyle, make sure you guys click that follow button so you can stay connected with our programming here 7 days a week. Also, make sure you guys do go ahead, pre-order the new book by Dr. Velma, and make sure you guys also, after the official release, let her know what you think by also sharing your thoughts in a review. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying thank you all for watching Cyrus Webb Presents. Let's make it a great one. Take care.
Thank you.